This is your humble reporter. I just put up a great video with Bob Rebbek, expert knife maker, although he calls himself a hobbyist and a part-time maker. He's just excellent skills and makes great knives. Particularly interesting to me are the automatics, and you should check that video out. But also, he was kind enough to share some pictures of how he made the side lock, the side spring automatic. And it was just fascinating to me. And I'm going to share that with you guys now if you like. And this is going to be some mechanism talk and a little bit about knife building. So it's video shows like a beautiful knife, great action. And first I want to talk a little bit about why would somebody want to put a spring on the side of a knife? Well, if you put it in the spine in the inside the knife, it's going to take up some room. So if you want a thin looking knife from the belly to the top, putting a spring on the side will achieve that. And it's kind of a unique mechanism. It's something different. I think perhaps you can't put quite as thick a spring on the side as you could on the inside top of the knife, but as you can see, the spring is plenty strong enough. So it's a little bit different than having a knife up in the spine of the knife, and a spring up in the spine of the knife, and where it's going to flick the blade down. This is going to be off to the right side of the knife, and there's going to be sort of a hook over contacting the blade, and that's going to flip it down. So this is a bench shot of the knife provided by Bob, and it shows some progression. As you can see, there's two pieces of ebony handle scales, and there's sort of a white outline about where he's going to put these routed out areas to accommodate the spring on the right side. It's a big routed out space that the spring's going to travel up and down in. And on the left scale, which is in the top right of the picture, is a routed out area that's going to cover the button mechanism. And off to the left are the two liners. The right liner on top here in the middle, you can see the spring is on the side. It's attachment toward the base. And up front, there's sort of a slot cut for the up and down movement of the spring with its hook that's going to contact the blade. And below that here is the left liner, and you can see it's got a big cutout slot in it, and that's where the lever is going to travel in. And below that is the blade. And in the dish there, we could see there is a lever arm for a lockback. As you notice maybe in the video, it's a lockback mechanism to lock the knife open. And there's some other parts. Obviously, that small black piece there is the button lever itself. Now, moving on to this next picture, you can see now how the scales are routed out. There room for the spring on the right scale, which is to the left of the one scale, and the left scale is to the right of it in this picture. And you can see the guts a little clearer on the liners, and how that's going to just fit in there. And there's a outline in white on the wood that shows how they're going to be profiled out. Now this picture shows the right liner laying on top of the right ebony wood handle material, and it's probably sitting pretty much where it is. There's a pin sticking up that helps fix it and locate it. You can see to the far left in the picture, it looks like there is a lever mechanism for the button release, and can't see too much about it, but you can also see the big long slit in the left liner that the lever is going to travel in. This picture is another shot of the bench where the parts are splayed out, and right at the top you can see the blade. It's got some blue marking for layout. Below that is the long, thin lever for the lockback mechanism, and once again the scales and the liners. And you can just see right in the middle of the picture a little brown thing. That's the spine backspacer that's going to hold the knife apart, the two scales apart, that allows room for the blade cavity to be formed. This is a picture of the knife put together with the blade in the closed position. The scales are removed. The release button can be seen. And if you look at the forward end of the lever, you could probably get what looks like probably the pin that is the latch pin that goes into the notch of the blade. And that's the release mechanism. The pivot pin is seen. And here is a close-up of the knife in the open position. I think it's not fully open. It looks like a little bend to it. But anyway, you can see the blue die has a hole drilled in it, and that would apparently be the latch hole that the latch pin goes in. A little bit further back is the pivot pin, and then further back is the lever release mechanism, and I think you could kind of see a pin that was mentioned that is the latch pin. So I was really fascinated to see this process. The interesting about it, of course, is Bob had never made one of these before, and he was doing a lot of tweaking and getting it up, and it got to the point where he told me he nearly threw it in the trash a few times because he was having a lot of difficulty. And it just goes to show Bob is an experienced automatic knife maker, but this was a new project for him. As you may know, knife makers will often experiment. That's part of the business, and they will also try new things. And also you may know that fitting pocket knife together is quite a bit more difficult than making a straight knife. And if you're going to make an automatic, the degree of difficulty is usually times 2, 3, or 4, because everything has to be lined up perfect, and if you shave something a little close or a little too short, it's not going to fit right or it's going to bind. So it's a lot of work with the first prototype. So I'm really excited that I got to see this process. This is kind of like Christmas for a knife mechanism lover. And I really appreciate Bob and showing us off. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks a lot.